Spain, land of flamenco dancing and paella feasts, football passion, and endless fiestas. But behind those sunny Mediterranean beaches and late-night tapas culture lies a history of mighty empires, dramatic conquests, powerful kings and queens, and countless rebellions. This is a country that once ruled half the known world. So how did Spain actually happen? Let's explore this fascinating journey. We begin with the ancient Iberian Peninsula, home to some of Europe's earliest human settlements. Ding dong! Prehistoric cave paintings at Altamira showcase artistic achievements dating back thousands of years. These remarkable works represent some of the oldest art discovered anywhere in Europe. Various peoples gradually settle throughout this strategic peninsula. The Iberians developed sophisticated communities in the south and east. Celtic tribes established themselves in northern mountainous regions. Venetian merchants create trading posts along Mediterranean coastlines. Greek colonists found cities and introduced new technologies. Carthaginians eventually established major settlements and use Iberia as a base for their growing empire. However, this attracts unwanted attention from their great rivals across the Mediterranean Sea. Knock knock. In 218 BCE, Roman legions arrive with imperial ambitions. After decades of fierce fighting against Carthaginian forces and local tribes, Rome finally conquers the entire Iberian Peninsula. Roman engineers build impressive cities, roads, and aqueducts throughout their new territories. The Latin language gradually replaces local dialects. Roman law establishes order and stability. Spain becomes one of Rome's wealthiest and most important provinces, producing emperors, philosophers, and enormous agricultural wealth. When Rome eventually falls to barbarian invasions, new powers emerge to fill the vacuum. Ding dong, Visigothic tribes, originally from Germanic territories, established kingdoms throughout Iberia. These Christian rulers maintained some Roman traditions while introducing their own customs and laws. Visigothic rule continues for several centuries until a dramatic change arrives from across the narrow Strait of Gibraltar. In 711 CE, knock-knock, Muslim armies cross from North Africa and sweep through Spain with remarkable speed and efficiency. Within just a few years, almost the entire peninsula becomes Islamic territory known as Al-Andalus. This conquest represents far more than simple military occupation. It transforms Spanish culture completely and creates one of medieval Europe's most sophisticated civilizations. The Islamic conquest of Spain proves transformative in unexpected ways. Al-Andalus doesn't simply represent foreign domination, it becomes a brilliant center of learning, culture, and technological innovation. Cordoba grows into one of Europe's largest and most sophisticated cities. The Great Mosque of Cordoba, with its distinctive red and white arches, demonstrates Islamic architectural mastery. The Alhambra Palace in Granada showcases exquisite geometric patterns and peaceful gardens. Libraries preserve and expand upon Greek philosophical works that would otherwise be lost forever. Muslim, Christian, and Jewish communities coexist relatively peacefully for several centuries. This cultural mixing produces remarkable achievements in mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and philosophy. While much of Europe struggles through the Dark Ages, Al-Andalus shines as a beacon of civilization. However, Christian resistance never completely disappears from northern mountain regions. Small kingdoms like Asturias, Castile, and Aragon gradually organize opposition to Islamic rule. Ding dong! The Reconquista begins as a centuries-long campaign to reclaim Christian control. This process unfolds slowly through countless battles, temporary truces, and shifting alliances. Christian kingdoms sometimes fight each other as fiercely as they battle Muslim opponents. Political marriages unite Christian territories while military campaigns gradually push Islamic boundaries southward. The Reconquista becomes more than military conquest. It develops into a defining element of Spanish national identity. Christian warriors see themselves as crusaders fighting holy wars for religious and cultural survival. By the late 1400s, only the Kingdom of Granada remains under Islamic rule. The marriage of Isabella of Castile to Ferdinand of Aragon creates a powerful united Christian monarchy. In 1492, knock-knock, Granada finally falls to Christian forces. After nearly 8 centuries, the Reconquista reaches completion. But 1492 proves remarkable for another reason entirely. That same year, Christopher Columbus sails westward under Spanish sponsorship, seeking a new route to Asian markets. Instead, he encounters the Americas and changes world history forever. Suddenly, Spain finds itself building a vast global empire. Silver and gold flow endlessly from Mexican and Peruvian mines. Spanish conquistadors topple the mighty Aztec and Inca empires with superior technology, disease, and ruthless determination. Ding dong! Spain becomes Europe's richest and most powerful nation. The 1500s represents Spain's true golden age in every sense. Art, literature, and imperial wealth reach unprecedented heights. Miguel de Cervantes writes Don Quixote, often considered the world's first modern novel. Diego creates masterful paintings that influence artists for centuries. Madrid rises as a magnificent imperial capital. Spanish military power seems unstoppable across Europe and the Americas. However, this dominance faces its first serious challenge when the Spanish Armada attempts to invade England in 1588. Knock knock. English naval forces and Atlantic storms destroy much of Spain's mighty fleet. Spanish power begins showing cracks. The 1600s bring mounting problems that gradually undermine Spanish supremacy. Endless European wars drain the royal treasury despite American silver imports. Habsburg kings prove increasingly incompetent at managing complex imperial affairs. Economic decline accelerates as other European powers develop more efficient industrial and agricultural systems. The Habsburg dynasty finally collapses in 1700, triggering the War of Spanish Succession. After years of international conflict, the French Bourbon family takes control of the Spanish throne. Spain survives this transition but emerges considerably weakened compared to rising powers like Britain and France. The early 1800s bring catastrophic changes to Spanish power and territory. Ding dong. Napoleon's armies invade Spain and install his brother as king. Spanish resistance proves fierce and innovative, developing guerrilla warfare tactics that give the world a new Spanish word. This brutal conflict devastates Spain's economy and military strength. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic Ocean, Spanish-American colonies organize independence movements. One by one, they successfully break away from Spanish rule. Mexico, Argentina, Chile, Peru, Colombia, and other nations declare independence. Spain's once mighty global empire crumbles within just a few decades. The country that had dominated world affairs for centuries suddenly finds itself reduced to European status with only a few remaining overseas territories. Throughout the 1800s, Spain struggles desperately to modernize while other European nations industrialize rapidly. Political chaos becomes chronic as revolutions, civil wars, and competing monarchies create constant instability. Spain falls behind economically and technologically. The early 1900s bring some stability and gradual progress. But political tensions continue, simmering beneath the surface. Regional identities in Catalonia and the Basque Country challenge central authority. Republican movements oppose monarchical rule, while conservative forces defend traditional institutions. In 1936, these tensions explode into devastating civil war. Knock knock. Republicans fighting for democracy face nationalists supporting authoritarian rule. This brutal conflict becomes a rehearsal for World War II as fascist and communist powers support opposing sides. By 1939, Francisco Franco's nationalist forces achieve victory and establish a fascist dictatorship. Spain officially stays neutral during World War II, but Franco's repressive regime lasts for nearly 4 decades. Political opposition faces imprisonment or execution, while Spanish culture suffers severe restrictions. Franco's death in 1975 creates opportunities for democratic transformation. Ding dong, King Juan Carlos I skillfully guides Spain's peaceful transition to democracy. A new constitution establishes parliamentary government and protects civil liberties. Spain rejoins the European community of democratic nations. Modern Spain experiences rapid economic growth and cultural renaissance. The 1992 Barcelona Olympics showcase Spain's successful modernization to the world. European Union membership brings prosperity and international integration. Today's Spain remains vibrant but faces complex challenges. Regional independence movements in Catalonia and the Basque Country test national unity. Economic crises periodically threaten stability. However, Spain continues as a major cultural powerhouse, from flamenco music and Picasso's art to world-class cuisine and La Liga football, from ancient Roman aqueducts to magnificent Moorish palaces, from Columbus's voyages to conquistador adventures, from global empire to devastating civil war, from Franco's dictatorship to thriving democracy. That's how Spain happened.